Hello, everyone. Welcome in Fantasy Life right here, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Happy start to your Wednesday. We are so excited to have you here with us yet again. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you for the next 2 hours and making sure we break down everything going into week 6. We are turning the page here, Adam. Hopefully everyone's waiver wire dreams came true. Hopefully yours did. Hopefully you didn't have to spend that much on Kimani Vidal and Hassan Haskins. But yet here we are. I didn't notice, Adam, how many teams I had with Omari and Hampton until, you never notice until you have to go to the waiver wire to pick someone up. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, doing well. A lot of my waivers haven't run yet. They usually run on a Wednesday night. I know there's a lot on Tuesday, but yeah, a lot of Vidal, Haskins questions. And you're seeing them go for different prices or some usually in the same range. Some people prefer Haskins as we'll see what happens in that backfield. But again, I didn't want to spend a lot of money on this backfield because I don't think it's going to be very productive with that offensive line. We already saw Hampton not doing much on the ground. They were getting heavily involved in the passing game. So I think it's going to be more of a passing situation for the Chargers, and they'll rely less on the running backs.
Yeah, I had one. Let's see. I'm looking at some of my other leagues. I had Vidal in all of my leagues go for more. So I think that's the person that most people wanted more of. Vidal in $100 league, $26. That's a lot.
It really
It's
is.
understandable though. I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
look,
if you're desperate, we just don't know how it's going to unfold. That's the one thing. That's what I've been telling people is like, I've actually leaned a little bit more towards Haskins, but at the end of the day, this could just be a 1A, 1B situation. And then I saw they signed Nyheim Hines as well. I still think like they could bring Nyheim Hines up. He is signed to the practice squad though, re-signing, I should say. He's 28 years old. He had that leg injury that really, it was the jet ski accident 2023. I don't think we've seen him since then, but they did sign him. So yeah, I've been going more Haskins, but again, it's a toss up. We're going to find out at the same time as everyone else and with the team on Sunday.
yeah, I'm seeing in our CBS charity league, Vidal went for 22, Haskins went for 21.
There we
So,
go.
yeah, it's look, like you said, there's a lot of people who are in desperation, and I am in some leagues, but I am just
Same.
not going to spend a lot of money, hoping that maybe something better comes along in the next week or two. And I could certainly use a running back in many leagues with all the injuries, but I'm just not spending up. I felt more confident in spending on Michael Carter last week, and even
Yeah.
then, I didn't know how it would pan out. It could have easily backfired. It worked for last week at least, where he got all the volume, but I felt better about that offensive line in that situation compared to the Chargers.
Yeah, the offensive line is just, man, they are hurting and they need some guys back. And I think we maybe change our tune once they do get some guys coming back. But I think for me, Vidal, I mean, he has 53 career touches. Haskins has 79. So it's really this other thing of they haven't proven much at the NFL level. And so that's something we also have to take into consideration here. So when you look at Vidal, we know that he's obviously more explosive. You could have seen that when he came into the game on Sunday, and he has the pass catching skill set. So there's that. Haskins has ties back to Harbaugh in the with the Michigan days, so maybe that adds a little bit more here as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be really interested to see. Like you said, I'm also desperate in one league. Man, my running backs. Maybe I can pull this up really quick. It is so brutal, Adam. I traded for Trey Benson. How did that go? Not very well. I have Omari and Hampton in this one as well. It's just at some point you just have to really dig deep. So I'm spending money in those leagues for Haskins or just any of them. I just want one. Give me one that I can start. Is that so much? Is that too hard to ask for?
Yes, it is this year. It definitely is. And
Do we say it every year? It feels like this is really bad this year.
no, it does feel worse this year because remember last year it was mostly the wide receivers that were going down, and now we're being hit at both positions, a little bit at tight end as well.
Yeah.
So it does feel worse this year because we didn't have this at the running back position. I mean, Hampton was a guy that if you had him, all right, you felt great going into the season. Then Najee Harris started to cut in, and you're like, oh no. Then Harris goes down and is out for the year. And now you're like, well, I have a league winner with Hampton. He's going to
Yep.
get all the work out of the backfield. He was getting 20 plus touches. He was involved in the passing game, and you felt great. And then all of a sudden, he leaves the game with injury. And a lot of the doctors we're like, yeah, this doesn't look too bad. And then he's
Mhm.
immediately placed on injured reserve on Monday. Like, you know how we sit there and wait for these sites to do it? They put Hampton like that. I was like, okay, before waivers even runs, I could just put him on the IR. So it does feel worse this year. I know that we say it this every year. Yeah, it's another bad year, but it does feel worse this year without having the statistics of actual players hurt in front of me. But it definitely feels worse. I could say this: in all the years I've been playing, my teams have never been hit as hard with injuries as it is this year. I've had so many
Yeah.
teams that I'm just looking at, and it's like, wow, this is a problem. And we all go through it every year, but I don't remember worse than this.
Yeah, it's I agree. It's brutal. And
Oh
maybe it's
yeah,
just our
someone
team.
put
No, I
out
was
a
just kidding.
stat yesterday. It was, I think,
Oh.
14 of the top 48 players drafted have either missed a game or gone on IR.
Wow. That's horrible.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like. I mean, because you said it last year was all wide receivers. This year it just feels like it's not only wide receivers, but it's a little bit everywhere. But it's big name guys. It's the Brock Bowers that you're not having. It's Lamar Jackson. It's Joe Burrow. It's now Amari and Hampton. I mean, just some of these guys. It's just brutal, and it's just everywhere. I mean, you could be on a team with 2 or 3 injuries, and like you said, Adam, if you're there and you're in a deep league, you're starting a Kendre Miller in week 5 and 6. It's just it'll get better, right? It'll get better. We just have to say that.
Yeah, okay. So it
Have
was
to
Rich
fight through it.
Rebar who
Oh,
said it,
nice.
with all
Love
Marion
Rich.
Hampton being the latest 14 players with a top 48 ADP and PPR who have been placed on IR or have already missed a game.
Well, and that's
That,
not even counting some of the top 48 players that are underperforming, too. You know what I mean?
oh,
Like some
yeah.
of those top picks where you're just like, you might as well be on IR because you're not giving me any fantasy points, or you might as well be hurt because I'm getting nothing from you. That's the other part of it, where some of these guys in the top 3 rounds that we were picking from, I mean, the latest example, obviously, we always pick on Brian Thomas Jr., but like that's one where you were hoping that he was good to go. Now you have Malik Neighbors down. You've got, I mean, it's just Chase Brown has been bad. It's just brutal.
Yeah. The thing is, too, it's easy to get discouraged, and a lot of people do, and then they kind of give up. You got to remember, though, that everyone else is dealing with similar situations. There might be the outlier team that has no injuries and is cruising along. We know at some point it's going to affect them too. So you just got to keep plugging away, pick up players off waivers, make trades, and just get by for the week. And it's all about just getting into the playoffs. That's the ultimate goal. It doesn't matter if you're the 6 seed, the 5 seed, you just need to get in. And hopefully by that time, your team is rolling. And you might be in a situation where you have Rashee Rice, George Kittle, Mike Evans. You get these guys back. Hopefully you picked up some other players in their absence that performed. Or you have the league winners on your team like
Yeah.
Puka Nacua, Jonathan Taylor. You're in
There
pretty
you
good
go.
shape there.
Congratulations. We're extremely, extremely jealous of you if you have that. But you said it. We always say it. You say it. You give the speech before we even start the season, but you just don't give up because you're going to meet teams that also, if you think you're just dead in the water right now, you're going to meet a team that is also really decimated by injuries, right? And so that's going to be the week that it can really turn. You can, you know, scratch out a win, and it's going to be okay. But we never said it was going to be easy to win a championship, Adam. That's why you have to work the waiver wire, right? That's all it is, and
Oh yeah,
we're here
it's
to help
definitely
it.
not going to be easy this year. I can tell you that.
My waiver wire article is live at fantasylife.com. If you haven't checked it out, if your waivers run a little bit later, make sure to go over there. Hopefully every waiver wire claim that you put in comes true, that you get all of them. We've got news that we had yesterday here, Adam, a trade for the Cincinnati Bengals, something that we thought was probably going to happen this week. Do not worry, Cincinnati Bengals fans, help is on the way. You get one Joe Flacco. Crazy. Out of all the names that we were discussing and talking about just yesterday, Joe Flacco was not even on my radar. So Cincinnati Bengals are turning to the division rivals, getting Joe Flacco in a trade with the Cleveland Browns. Cincinnati's also going to get a 6th-round pick. Cleveland gets back a 5th-round pick in this trade. So the Bengals have been looking for someone because obviously Jake Browning just was not doing it for him. It wasn't the 2023 version of Jake Browning, but funny enough, Adam, they're hoping that they get 2023 version of Joe Flacco. So that's the big question here is, after what we've seen from Flacco, the Browns said, you know what, we're actually going to go with Dylan Gabriel. What was your initial reaction on this? Like, do you actually think this is an upgrade, not only for them in just regular NFL terms, but when we're talking fantasy, do you think this is an upgrade for us?
Not really. It felt like some people felt it automatically was, but Flacco has not played well since that magical run. He wasn't good this year, and I know it's a different team, but here's the problem. The Bengals offensive line. And unless Flacco all of a sudden his legs got him to move faster, I don't see it. Browning had 8 interceptions. Flacco was third in the NFL with 6. So he's got to adjust to a new offense. Look, you hope that he's like smart and says, let me just get this ball to Chase and Higgins and get it out
Yeah.
quick. He's going to have to because, again, this offensive line is the big problem here. So I think maybe you feel a little bit better for your skill position players. But again, it's not like this is a huge upgrade. He wasn't very good. And behind this bad offensive line, I don't know how it could get better. The only thing you could point to is, well, he has experience and, he'll just have to get the ball out quickly. But I don't think this is a major move here.
I was surprised. I actually couldn't believe it because what he's one Steelers team away from playing
The
for
whole
every
division.
AFC
That'll be
North team.
next year.
Okay, perfect. Great. Don't put that out there. Why would you do that? But I mean, you said it. Flacco doesn't bring, if I'm saying minimal mobility, that's me being nice. He brings very little mobility in the pocket. And so when you're looking at this, the offensive line, like you said, is so poor. And it just does not feel like a good combination here. They could maybe get away with it for a few games, but it's just surprising for a team that is still in the hunt. I mean, we're really early in the season. We're only going into week 6, and they do have a chance in this division with how upside down it is this season to be in a place to make the playoffs and hope that Burrow can come back. But to go to Flacco, I'm questioning it a little bit. I think that Zach Taylor, I think all eyes are going to be on him because now if you're going out and you're getting Joe Flacco, this was the third time. What did I say? What was that stat yesterday? The third time that they've done an in-season
Yeah,
trade
they
in
had
50
two
plus
going in.
years.
Yeah,
I mean,
two
it's
going
great.
into
It's
this one.
crazy. So now you have to turn to Zach Taylor. And I think this is where it's really going to show what kind of coach he is because they need to do a better job. Him, their offensive coordinator, Dan, the offensive line, they need to scheme things up. They need to execute a lot better for Joe Flacco to even be semi-successful because you said it, the stats are bad. He's completing 58.1% of his passes. He's got out of 32 qualified quarterbacks, he ranks 31st in total QBR. I mean, Browning's 2 spots higher at 29. So you said it. I hope that it is a little bit of an upgrade in fantasy football because he is a veteran quarterback. He can come in and hopefully just lock in with T. Higgins, lock in with Jamar Chase, and we're going to be just fine here. But yeah, overall, just from an NFL perspective, I was shocked to see this one.
Yeah, I think we
Surprised.
were hoping for someone different.
Jameis,
Maybe,
give us
Jameis
Jameis.
would have been
Come
fun with
on.
Chase and Higgins, just
That would have
chucking it
been
up and,
amazing.
30 passes, 30 interceptions, 30, that 30 for 30 season he had. Yeah, that
We
would
would
have
have had
been
the
more
best. We would
fun.
have had the best time. Imagine the quotes we would have gotten. Come on. Yeah. Kirk Cousins with this contract, you probably knew that they weren't going to go
No
that
way. They're not
direction, but
spending money.
Russell Wilson didn't look good. I don't know. So, no, not really an upgrade. Are we just staying neutral? Are you more inclined though to start T Higgins now though? Because T Higgins was very close to if you had a borderline better decision here, you might have gone a different direction in week 5.
Yeah, that's the one probably. I have him in 2 leagues, and it has been really rough. Again, he saved his week with a touchdown this past week.
Mhm.
I think I did have him in the lineup. I think one team I really don't have a choice. The other one I actually do have a couple of options. So probably a little bit better, I would think. But again, it's not like, oh wow, I can't wait for this. This Bengals offense is going to be so much better. It's not like that. I don't have any Jamar Chase this year. I didn't have the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I don't either. I think I have him in a couple best ball leagues, but that's it.
Yeah, and it
I'm not
always.
sad about it now.
Well, yeah, now we're not sad about it. After the completion of draft season, you're like, damn, I can't
Yeah,
believe I have no Jamar Chase.
I was
But
nervous about it.
I did have Burrow in 2 leagues though, including a super flex.
I did too. It's brutal because he was the last good,
Yeah,
more elite quarterback that was going. Oh, you could get him sometimes around or even 2 later from those other top 4. And so I was like, this feels like good value. But now we're sitting here saying, great, what are we doing with
yeah.
ourselves? But I do like, I
I had
did. I mean, we still like Joe, or yeah, we still like Joe Burrow, but it's just, yeah.
I had the 5th pick, and the top 4 quarterbacks. And I said, all right, I'm taking Burrow because that's where I
Mhm.
saw the drop off after. And Boy, you talk about ruining your season, even though again that team is 4-1 somehow. But
I
and this
can't
is what I've
believe
always
that.
said. So you have to realistically assess your team right now. You could be 4-1 and your team is not that good. That it's not championship caliber. That you just either got fortunate on who you played or an opponent, so you had a couple of spike weeks. You could also be 2-3 and your team is really good.
Hmm.
And you just happen to face high scoring teams, which is why I always love playing double headers. I've been doing it in my home league for 15 years. Play double headers. Even then, sometimes you do get some bad luck. So what I do is the top 5 make the playoffs, and then that out of the remaining 7 teams, whoever has the most points gets that last playoff spot. But you could be 2-3 right now, 3-2, and have a really good team. You could be 4-1, 5-0, and your team is not that good. So you just
Hmm.
have to look at it and say, be realistic about yourself. Because I like my team in the GST is 4-1. It's not championship caliber. It's just not. I've
I know you're
guess like
putting up crazy points
well,
too.
last week I did. There was 2 weeks, but I just don't have any depth at running back. Like I need Bucky Irvin and CeeDee Lamb back. Even if I get them, I look at a team. I'm like, it's not one of the best teams.
What are
So,
you doing when you're evaluating your teams though, and you know that? I mean, you go to the waiver wire, right? But even
well,
then,
for us, yeah, we have no
yeah.
trades. If you're in a different league, you can make trades.
Hmm.
But sometimes people will send their roster and they're like, yeah, what am I going to do? I'm 2-3, and I look at a team. I'm like, your team is good. You'll really need to do much. It happens. We're talking about 5 weeks where you could go up against the highest scoring team 3 out of the 5 weeks, and those are your 3 losses where you put up points. And then on the other side, you could be that team that's barely getting by, that you're playing the lowest scoring team every week. A lot of times you could just look at the standings, and I always do this. I look at points against, and the teams that have the fewest points against are usually near the top, and the ones that give up the most are at the bottom. Sometimes, though, those teams at the bottom really do stink and they just, get wiped out. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think there are times when you could be 4-1 and you got to say, this team is just not that good.
Yeah, it's time. It's self-reflection time, that's for sure. I was looking through some of them and just ways of trimming the fat, I would say. Just guys that I'm just like, okay, I just, because we talk about this too all the time, Adam. There are some teams where I just had to look and say, I can't keep holding on to this potential, handcuff running back. I just have to
Yeah.
drop them and pick someone up that's going to get me points now. And again, we all do this. We do it every single year. It happens to me, it happens to you. Sometimes that's going to happen, and you're going to cut a Jalen McMillan a couple weeks before his breakout, and it's just going to stink. But that's my focus this week too. So if you guys are going to the waiver wire, just look at some of these guys. Ray Davis, I had to part ways with because I just did not have any more time in this one league to keep him. So if James Cook went down, which we never want, again, we never want injuries, but that's what you were holding on to. And so sometimes you just have to look around and trim the pieces that aren't doing it for you because you need fantasy points immediately. So that's the other whole part to look at as well going into this week. We are going to continue on. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking with Matthew Berry here in a little bit, but to start things off before that, I want to continue following these trends. Want to talk a little bit more about Ashton Jeanty and how he has looked. Also had a ton of questions, Adam, on Jakobi Meyers. Some of these mid-tier wide receivers that we're looking at. Jakobi Meyers, Calvin Ridley. Also want to talk about Stefon Diggs here. We're going to do all of that coming up next. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hopefully, all your waiver wire wishes came true. Getting into week 6 here, we're going to be talking with Matthew Berry in a little bit. We've got an early, thank goodness for those early baseball games, Adam. I mean, really. I was trying to finish up that Yankees game last night, and it was difficult. I don't know how
Was
you
it
did it.
really?
Oh,
Oh,
for
man.
sure. For
So,
sure. I was like,
yeah,
wrap it up. Let's go.
that was a disappointing
I know. I couldn't
ending for
believe it.
Toronto. But I did say on the bright side, at least there's 4 baseball games today. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously do have some work to do, writing
No,
something
don't
and
do any
waiver
work
wire and
today.
stuff, but definitely have those games on TV. Definitely hoping your Mariners close it out.
Oh my gosh. I can't talk about it. I'll get sick to my stomach. I'm so nervous. But noon Pacific time, crazy. If anyone's listening and a Mariners fan, just leave work. I just go to lunch, don't come back. It's kind of like how we say on Fridays. I think you should get, there should be something for works and organizations, companies where you can just say, "Hey, this is my team. I need the day." Don't you think so?
Definitely.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
let's get that in
noon
writing.
time is good start for you though, right? You
Oh,
prefer
yeah,
that?
I should be definitely up for that whole
So you
game.
will not watch the conclusion of Phillies Dodgers tonight, right?
I probably will just because unless I don't think it'll be a blowout, but unless it's a blowout, I should watch the whole thing. What time does
Okay.
that start? 6?
9:08 Eastern.
Okay, 6. I can do 6 o'clock starts. I'm good. I'm locked
Okay.
in. Dinner's done. Or we're fine here.
Okay.
All right, we do great baseball games today. Even better trends that we saw in week 6. You see what I did there? Dang, we are killing
Damn.
it. I know. It's fine. No clapping necessary. Ashton Jeanty. Thank you. Ashton Jeanty. Just kind of wanted to hit him because we always talk about during the week, especially early, players we have questions on, players that, Hassan Haskins, Kimani Vidal, which way should I go? Which guy should I pick up off the waiver wire? But Ashton Jeanty, for what it's worth, he just looked so good. It was the result of a blowout game script. Jeanty didn't play in the fourth quarter, but before that, it was 90% of the snaps, which is what we've wanted. It was 82% of the attempts, 74% route participation rate, and he just had a 33% target share as well with Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer out of the lineup. It's been so disappointing for Brock Bowers managers. I know I'm one of them, and it's just hurt really bad to not see him out there. But with Jeanty finishing week 5, 15.9 fantasy points, if it was not a blowout game, Adam, right, we would have been talking probably 18 to 20 plus. But it's just 2 weeks of a monster role for Ashton Jeanty. No one listening needs us to tell them that you're starting him every week, but it is just following these trends and the utilization and saying, okay, everything's really coming together here, and it feels really nice to be able to talk about it like that.
Well, I hope people listened and were able to buy low on him because
Me too.
the first few weeks of the season, it did not look good. And I think there was a lot of worry and panic. But if you had watched Jeanty play, you could see it was not his fault. Clearly, the offensive line isn't that good, but he gets a lot of yards after contact. The most concerning part was the lack of involvement in the pass game the first few weeks. But you see that, as you mentioned, the snap percentage is up. He is getting more involved in the pass game. I mean, this past week, obviously, best game of the week, of the season in the passing game. 7 targets, 5 catches for 42 yards. He now has 7 receptions the last 2 weeks. He had 5 in the first 3 games. So he is getting that role. Again, it could have been a bigger day if they weren't getting blown out. He still had 19 touches. He gave you a very productive day in PPR with over 15 points. And, you just hope that the touchdowns will come. The offense clearly is not been good. A lot of turnovers for Geno Smith this past week, but the volume is there for Jeanty, and you have to be really happy if you have him. But there were people who were talking about benching him after the first
For
3
sure.
weeks, and it was like, come on, guys. I mean, the Chicago game in week 4, we knew that was the game that he was gonna have his breakout, and he did. So, yeah, he's real talented back, getting all the volume, finally seeing more in the passing game, and yeah, you just have to hope that they can at least stay a little bit more competitive and that he can find the end zone more. But they are facing the Titans this week, so that helps.
Hey, maybe. Are they favorite? They have to be favored in that game,
Yeah,
right?
they are.
It's
I
brutal though for the Raiders. I didn't think they would have a start like this, to be totally honest. And I
I
don't know how
didn't think
much,
they were good.
but you thought they were this bad, like a blowout loss to the Colts, 40-6.
Well, if you would have asked anyone before the
Well,
year, but
okay,
then
not
we
the
didn't
Colts.
realize how good the Colts were. Oh, that
True.
line is moving down, though. I think I
Oh,
remember it was I thought it was as high as 6.5. I know it was 5.5 yesterday. It's 4.5. I think it's because people are like, wait, I am really laying this many points with the Raiders? No,
you're
it
like,
doesn't matter who
should
they
I be
play.
doing that? Yeah, exactly. Well, Geno Smith, man, it's his what 9 interceptions now because he had 2 on Sunday, so that puts him at 9, and
Yeah.
that's the most by any. I saw the stat that's the most by any Raiders quarterback in the team's first 5 games of a season since Jim Plunkett in 1982. 82, Adam. What were you doing in 82?
I was just getting started.
Exactly. It's just, I don't know. It's just bad. The last NFL quarterback to record 9 picks in his team's first 5 games was Zach Wilson. That's not necessarily good company that you want to be with. So you hope that they turn things around a little bit. And I'm telling you, Brock Bowers, it seems like they should have just put him on IR when he got that injury. That's the
Or
one thing that really just tilts me a little bit. And I know fantasy managers will say the same thing, but it's like when you can tell that someone is hurt and just not up to their 100%, but they're still going out there. We missed a week with Bowers, and then it was like, oh, okay, he's going to be able to play now, but it's just not been. It's been nothing. You're looking at streamer tight ends right now because he hasn't been putting things up for you, but it's tough because of the name and the production that he can give you. That's the other part of it.
yeah, so I don't know if they needed to put him on IR, but they definitely needed to sit him right away. And I did see Bowers was the one who wanted to play. But the team also has to step in and say,
Yeah, but
look,
come on.
we've
Yeah.
watched you in practice. You're just not moving well. I mean, everyone saw it during the games. And that's the one issue with taking that tight end early. They have to hit. I'm pretty sure if you have Bowers right now, your team is really hurting because more than likely, if you didn't take a backup tight end, you're like, well, I'm starting Bowers every week. So why do I need a backup tight end? And then you were putting him out there because if the team is putting him on the field and think he's good enough to play, you're probably like, all right, I'm going to
Oh,
roll with
yeah.
it. So you were getting bad production. And then remember last week too, the report on Friday was Bowers is likely going to play. Pete Carroll said, yeah, he's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
play. He's not going to practice, but he's going to play. And then I think the report came on Saturday that, yeah, he's more than likely out. So that could have prevented people from even adding a tight end. And now we are in a position where maybe some people were able to go out there and get a Darren Waller or Mason Taylor last week, potentially to replace Bowers. But that's the one risk of why I really can't take a tight end that early. I haven't done it since the Rob Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham years.
Nice.
But I have no Bowers this year. I couldn't do it. I mean,
I have him in one.
I took McBride in like round 3 or 4,
I have a little
but
bit of McBride. I've got the one Brock Bowers because I took him in Vegas when I was doing those drafts. But
your
I
team's
came I
hurting right
came
now, right?
actually,
No?
now that you say that, let me look. I don't think it could be better. I'm actually sitting at 3-2 right now.
Did you
This week.
draft a second tight
I
end?
did because it was
Well,
those 20 it
20
was those
roster
20
spots. Yeah,
rounds. So
20. So
I
20
mean in
roster
20
spots might
you're
be
going to have
different.
one. I
But you're
have but it's
still
not great. I have Chigakonkwo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so even if you did take Bowers in that format, your
Exactly.
inclination is to
Not good.
wait longer on that
Mhm.
second tight end.
Yep. And that's what I did. This team is hurting though because I had Jordan Mason, Woody Marks is on a bye, and Trey Benson I spent money on. So we'll see if I can crack 100 points this week, but
It
that's fine.
happens.
That's
Like,
here for
look,
future me. It has to
I
do.
don't care how good you are. If you're playing in like 10 leagues, you're going to have a couple of that are duds. It's inevitable. It's just, especially with all the players that you have across these rosters and these injuries, one or two of them is going to get really hit hard that it's going to make it challenging.
Let me finish off with this, and then we're going to call and talk with Matthew Berry here. But Jacoby Myers, I got an interesting amount of messages yesterday on Jacoby Myers saying, is it time to move on?" And I was like, "Okay, wait. Does move on mean drop him, or does move on mean looking at benching him?" Because Jacoby Myers only trails Tedero McMillan in most targets without a receiving touchdown this season, and that is absolutely brutal. So you're getting a little bit. I mean, it's just at that point unlucky. Geno Smith, I do think, is going to have better days ahead of him. Obviously, when you look at Sunday, you're going to say, "Are you sure?" I mean, that looked really bad. But when Brock Bowers is week to week, I just do say, "Hey, hang on to him. Definitely don't drop him." But if you're looking at, maybe you do have better options when you go to our rankings and stuff. But to me, Adam, that's just unlucky. When you trail only Tet McMillan in most targets without a receiving touchdown, it's brutal. And I can understand why people are frustrated.
Oh yeah, especially this past week. He had a really good matchup, and for him to come away with 4 for 32 is just disappointing, especially with Brock Bowers out. So you add that and the matchup, you figured, okay, this is the week for Jacoby Myers, and it did not happen. And yeah, the targets too, like 17 targets over
Mhm.
the last 3 games, and again, a lot of it has to do with the performance of Geno Smith. So yeah, I think with him, you just stay patient and you hope that the offense could get better again against this Titans team where they might actually have a lead in this game or play with the lead. You would like to see a good performance this week from him.
Let's talk with Matthew Berry, get his thoughts on week 6 and the upcoming games, his rankings as well. We're going to break it all down with him here coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here, as always. FantasyLife.com. Go and check that out. Make sure you are subscribed to the newsletter, 100% free. Make sure you are checking out all of our articles that are also 100% free as well. And I've been talking about this this week and last week, but we just partnered with Comet. It is an AI-powered browser, acts as a personal assistant and thinking partner. I've told you before, I downloaded it and I use it to look for stats, very in-depth analysis on some of the fantasy players we have questions on. So Comet can give you updates on player player injuries, coach speak, simultaneously looks through our fantasy football rankings, any rankings you want to go through. So for a limited time right now, though, if you want to try Comet out, and I highly recommend it, you can actually get Fantasy Life Plus for free when you download Comet at fantasylife.com/Comet, COMET. So you can go to fantasylife.com/Comet, follow. It's about 2 minutes, step by step. We have a guide over there for you, and then you get full access to our rankings, all of our tools, our projections at fantasylife.com. So make sure you go and check that out, because that's why we haven't been giving you the amazing promo code we usually do, because we have the best listeners. Right now, you can get Fantasy Life Plus for free for a year. So you definitely want to be taking that deal. fantasylife.com/Comet, COMET is where you go. We're going to be talking with Matthew here in just a little bit here, but I wanted to continue on, Adam, before we do talk to him. Just looking at the trends, looking at some other things that we are hopeful in week 6 that continue on. Stefon Diggs, we mentioned him Monday because he was a fantasy winner for us. But when you look at Stefon Diggs now, it feels like we can trust him. And I think that's a little bit nerve-wracking when we say trust with any fantasy player, because as we know, we can have high highs and we can have low lows. But with Stefon Diggs, does it not feel like we're getting to the fully healthy part of Diggs? The first couple weeks weren't necessarily amazing, but these last 2 games, he has made the most out of his opportunities, and he's still got the yards after the catch ability. He's still got everything that you want. And so you've got a Saints defense, I believe, this weekend that's given up big games to Jackson Smith and Jigba. We saw what you want Jennings. So as far as looking ahead, it feels like not only Stefon Diggs is someone we can maybe start trusting in our lineups week in and week out, but especially this week in our rankings, I've moved him up a good amount.
For sure. I'd feel really good about him now. He still is not playing a large amount of snaps, so he got up to 63% in week 4, which was a season high. He was at 50% this past week. But it doesn't matter, because when he's on the field, they're throwing him the ball. That's all I care about. So, yeah, I feel really good. I wish I had him. He did start to go up my rankings as we got close to the season, because I started feeling better about him. The fact that, he was back pretty early cutting and on the practice field at his age too, coming off the injury. I mean, usually you're like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he's looked good. He obviously had a massive game against his former team, which everyone saw coming except the books. Holding that number.
You said that. What was his line?
I got it at 45.5
That's insane.
receiving yards. I think it might have went up to 49.5, 50. But
wow.
I know a lot of people were asking me, should I ladder it? I'm like, yes, do it. So that's 2 straight 100-yard games now for Diggs. Has not scored a touchdown yet. So
no, he will though. He will.
Yeah, he will. I'm surprised he didn't get one against his former team. But yeah, I think you have to feel really good. Like, he skyrocketed up the rankings. So my overall rest of season rankings are on Fantasy Life, so you can check that out.
Nice.
Yeah, and he moved up significantly.
I mean, he just has to. Again, slow start. It was interesting, the comparisons though, because it was between, when we were looking at him and Deebo Samuel, it was a lot of it was a lot of the same questions, right? Because you've got a couple older receivers coming off injured seasons in 2024, going to new teams, and so you say, okay, which one could really pay off? And at this point, to be totally honest, I mean, Deebo Samuel, for what it's worth, especially these last couple of weeks, you're still happy with what you've been getting for him. I mean, he improved his utilization score from 68 to 76. He had 48% target share. Now, I know that's without Terry McLaurin, and I know that will change once Terry McLaurin comes back. Looks like they're hopeful that he's good to go potentially this week, but we just have to wait and see. But I mean, Deebo Samuel, to give him that, I think it's a mid-range wide receiver too. You're happy with both, but I do like maybe the upside long term. Do you have Diggs rest of season higher than Deebo right now?
Yeah, and it's because the return of McLaurin will cut into Deebo a little bit. So the tricky part with McLaurin this week, you better hope that we get like the official news on Friday or Saturday, because that game is Monday night and it's the second game. So if you have that dreaded game time decision, it could be a problem. But hopefully we'll get the news Friday or Saturday. Hopefully we see him practice at some point today or tomorrow.
Diggs this week is our consensus. I haven't updated my rankings yet. I'll do it right after the show and upload them. But
I wonder why you didn't do it yesterday.
Well, I was a little bit nervous and busy. I was busy just being mad about Ferguson.
You had a whole rain delay to get it done.
Adam, what are we doing? Did you see Ferguson in that game? I can't even actually say what I want to say. But Diggs,
okay.
Wide receiver consensus 17 for the week, and I will get it done after 3:15 Pacific time. I will upload
Okay.
those rankings
Sounds good.
because we're a little bit busy there in between. Hey, one more and now let's talk to Matthew Berry. He's cooler than me saying these stats, but I'll say these stats later. Don't worry, you're not getting away from it. We're going to be talking with Matthew Berry about his week 6 rankings, just his expectations for week 6, and some specific players here coming up next. Yeah, your secret weapon to dominating your fantasy leagues right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis. FantasyLife.com is also a secret weapon for you. And of course, talking with Matthew Berry every single week, getting his insight and analysis going into week 6. Matthew, welcome in. How you doing?
Great, Kendall, because we just announced at FantasyLife.com that for a very limited time, you can get Fantasy Life Plus for free. There's no catch.
Yep.
It is our Tier 2 subscription. It's a $100 value, and you can get it for free for a year. For a year. It's thanks to our friends at Comet. Just go to FantasyLife.com. You'll see the link and what you have to do to sign up to get it. But literally, we're giving away a $100 value for free for the next year. So you don't have to worry about what you're buying next August for draft prep and tools that'll help you throughout the season. Our waiver tool, our start sit tool, all of our DFS tools, our sports betting tools, et cetera, all free for the next year at FantasyLife.com. It's for a limited time only. Thanks to our friends at Comet. Go check it out.
FantasyLife.com/ there we go. I'm doing well too, Matthew, because we get to tell the good people about this. FantasyLife.com/Comet, COMET. I've seen some messages about that. COMET is where you want to go. Matthew, with that in mind, and with everyone going and getting free Fantasy Life Plus, what is your instant analysis on what we have seen with Joe Flacco now going to the Bengals? I'm curious for you if you think this is an upgrade. Maybe this stays neutral for the offense, but we care about fantasy football. So what does this do for you with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase?
Yeah, honestly, look, I don't know that it's neutral. Nothing could be there's nowhere to go but up, right? Nowhere to go but up for this offense. I think it just is something different. In fairness to Jake Browning, they played the Broncos, the Vikings, the Lions. They played 3 really good defenses here in a row, so it's been a little bit tough. And I get it. Joe Flacco, at his age, not the most mobile guy in the world. It's a bad offensive line. But I think there's a couple of positives here. First off, it's just different, right? Something different. The other thing is that Joe Flacco is a veteran. He'll be in shotgun most of the time. He will get rid of the ball quickly. And there's a little bit of YOLO to Joe Flacco, who's not as scared as Jake Browning is to throw into coverage. Ultimately, like Jamar Chase, he's always open, right? So I think that he will be less and it's one of the reasons we both love and get frustrated with Joe Flacco is he is full on YOLO, whereas I felt like Browning just ran around a little bit more, tried to hold on to the ball longer, tried to just make some plays, and Flacco's going to get rid of the ball quickly. But just having something different there will help. I don't know that, again, he's somebody who lost his starting job with the Browns. So let's not get crazy and say he's coming to save the Bengals season. But I do think he's a veteran who will be an upgrade for the players we care about on the Bengals, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown. I think the offense will be a little bit better, more efficient, more in scoring position. Their schedule does get easier after this week as well. They play the Packers this week. Obviously, that's not going to be great. But after the Packers, it gets a little bit easier for the Bengals as well. So that's sort of my take, is that nowhere to go but up, something different, and a veteran presence in Flacco will ultimately help this offense. But I don't know that it's going to be – he ain't Joe Burrow, let's be clear.
Yeah.
After seeing Jacory Croskey-Merritt get a season-high 16 touches and be involved in the passing game this past week, are you comfortable now putting him in RB2 territory going forward?
For sure. I mean, because I think, by the way, I believe it's something – I may have this stat wrong, but off the top of my head, I believe he had 7 of his 16 rushes went for 10 yards or more, Adam. There's an explosiveness to Jacory Croskey-Merritt, to Bill. There's an explosiveness there that the Commanders just don't have elsewhere in the run game. We like Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols. They're fine pieces, and McNichols is still going to keep his passing down role. But certainly they want Jacory Croskey-Merritt. They want Bill to have more of a role. So, yeah, I think he's a top 20 running back. He's an RB2 going forward with weekly RB1 upside. because they do like to run when they get in close, especially given the knee brace that Jaden Daniels is wearing. I think that they will, when they are running in close, it's going to be, there's less competition for Bill to get the ball. You've always got Deebo there and others, but yeah, like, this is what they've wanted to happen. They've been ramping him up week after week. It's one of the reasons why we all were so excited about him in the preseason. It's why me and Connor Rogers on Fantasy Football Happy Hour in the draft, around the NFL draft in the spring, we talked about Jacory Croskey-Merritt as somebody that should have been an early day 3 pick, like a round 3 pick, not a 7th round pick. It's just because of his weird eligibility thing that had he played in college last year, he would have gone a lot higher. Connor Rogers, who's my co-host on Fantasy Football Happy Hour, had him ranked before the NFL draft. This is not, hindsight being 2020. Before the NFL draft, had him ranked on his pre-NFL draft rookie rankings, had JCM ranked ahead of RJ Harvey, just on pure talent. And so the question was, would he get the opportunity? And now, obviously, with the Commanders, he has.
Talking with the one and only Matthew Berry right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Life. With Omarion Hampton on IR, Matthew, that means minimum 4 games he's missing, and it just absolutely stinks. But the biggest question this week that people are asking is Hassan Haskins or Kimani Vidal? And I'm going to ask you the exact same question on which guy you would prioritize more on the waiver wire.
Ideally, neither. Yeah, ideally neither. It's just crushing, obviously, Omarion Hampton, my ride or die. But ride or die means you don't abandon, so we're waiting patiently. Hopefully he's back in 4 weeks, and maybe by the time he comes back, Joe Alt will be back as well. I think the challenge here is that I don't know that the Chargers are really going to be able to run that effectively with these 2 guys. I think it's going to be a split committee. If I had to pick one, give me Hassan Haskins. I think he's the closest to Omarion Hampton in terms of skill set. Vidal's going to be the passing down back, the 3rd down guy. So I think Haskins, who played college ball at Michigan under Jim Harbaugh, he's the guy that is most likely to get the goal line rushes, the 1st and 2nd down work, the early down work. But I just honestly think the Chargers will just go more pass heavy. And I think you'll just see more work for McConkey, Allen, QJ, and maybe some Aronde Gadsden, who continues to, increase his route participation. It hasn't shown up in the box score yet, but he is getting out there. We like the talent. So it's a decent matchup this week against Miami. I'll have Haskins ranked over Kimani Vidal. But, yeah, ideally, it's not a run game that I'm investing heavily in.
It's only 2 games since he's been back, but, boy, we have seen impressive performances from Darren Waller. Would you be comfortable with him as your starting tight end the rest of the year?
I would be, just given the state of the tight end position. So I think he's a borderline top 12 fantasy tight end. So I'd be comfortable with him as a tight end. I would not be comfortable with him being the only tight end I had on my roster, though. At this stage of his career, health has always been an issue for Waller. I love Waller, one of my favorite players in the NFL. His story, he's an easy guy to root for. He's been on my podcast. I've been on his podcast. Just a great guy and a great player. But injuries have been a challenge for him. And so I don't know that I would sit here and say, like, oh, for sure, he's going to last the entire season. You don't have to have any depth at the position. But as long as he's out there, his route participation continues to increase. His utilization score continues to increase. They've obviously got a set of packages for him in and around the red zone and the goal line. And so with this offense trying to find itself and no Tyreek Hill, Waller's obviously become a bigger part of a fairly narrow target tree on an offense that has shown signs of life recently. And they're back at home this week against the Chargers. We've talked about Miami plays better at home generally. At least they have under Tua last few years.
All right, Matthew. Well, we appreciate you so much hanging out with us here. And where are you at this weekend? Where can people find you this week and this weekend?
Well, I'm beautiful Stamford, Connecticut at NBC Sports. I'm currently in the car driving my way there right now. Fantasy Football Happy Hour at noon, top of the hour. We're going to do it live on YouTube like we do every single day. It's also available on Peacock, on NBCSports.com, and wherever you get your podcasts. And then, of course, Sunday, Fantasy Football pregame, Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on YouTube and Peacock. We take more questions than any other pregame show. And then, obviously, Football Night in America this Sunday night. We'll be the pregame show before Sunday Night Football. So always looking forward to that. Check out my column and my rankings at rotoworld.com and NBCsports.com. And lastly, if you want a free email from me and my friends every single day, delivered to your inbox, it's 100% free. Just go to fantasylife.com. Where, by the way, this month, everything is free, thanks to our friends at Comet.
There we go. I love it. Matthew, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we get to talk with you next week. We'll see you then.
Kendall, good luck to your Mariners. We'll talk later. See you, Adam.
Oh, thank you.
See ya.
There we go. Oh, look at that. We could just have a whole show. Should we do the rest of the show just talking about the Mariners? Who says no?
I know you wouldn't be opposed to that.
Besides programming and everyone, besides everyone listening right now, who says no? Do want to remind you, though, that we are going into the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. You know what time it is. It is time to take your phone calls, take your questions over there on X as well. At Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis is where you can send in questions if you are unable to call in. The phone number, though, 888-963-2682, or press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. We've got a lot of news to get through. We've got a lot of questions to get through, Adam, going into week 6, and we are heading to the Fantasy Life Water Cooler here next. Oh, it is about that time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. Welcome in, everyone. This is where we go through all the latest pieces of news here, all the notes that we have leading into week 6, and making sure you guys are all up to date on everything before setting those lineups for Thursday Night Football tomorrow. And this is also where we take your phone calls. So make sure you're calling in if you can. You've got the phone number here, 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. You can also find us over there on X. So send us a message, tweet at us at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis, and we'll try and get to as many of those as we can. I see a lot coming in though, Adam. So we've got some good questions going into the week. It's just about that time. Week 6 is, it's not make or break, but it is one where you're just kind of looking around, evaluating your team, like you said at the beginning of the show. So we've got good things to go through here. So send us a message, call us in. We are absolutely here to help. And let's get into some of the news here. So, all right, let's start off with just the first one. Recap, if someone wasn't here at the beginning of the show, Joe Flacco going over to the Cincinnati Bengals. Help is on the way, Cincinnati Bengals fans, so he is over there. We kind of talked through this and what our expectations would be. I just said, listen, he doesn't have a ton of mobility in the pocket. And so with this offensive line, you couple that with this offensive line, and it just feels not great, but maybe he can at least give us some fantasy production from T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. That's all we care about. Regular NFL terms, when we're looking at it, Bengals fans probably aren't very happy, but for us, maybe we can get a little bit more stability back there. He brings the veteran presence. You just have to hope that the offensive line stands up for him, and that he's just, again, able to get the ball to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. That's really all we care about.
Yeah, that's basically what we want as fantasy players, that he can get rid of the ball quickly, because we know the offensive line is not going to give him a lot of time. He knows this. He's going to look for his main targets, force the ball to them, and that's what you want. Chase, Higgins, but again, he has not played well this year. He didn't play well last year. I think people are just remembering his comeback player of the year finish and how good that was. But that was 2 years ago. So I know the Bengals are just hoping that he can keep them somewhat competitive, win some games, and maybe Burrow could come back in time for the playoffs if they get there. They probably looked at the division too and said, you know what? No one's running away with this. Baltimore's in bad shape. Pittsburgh, nothing special. So I think they just wanted to at least try something different to keep their season alive. But again, I just don't see it as a big upgrade. Again, you cross your fingers if you have Chase and Higgins and you go, okay, hopefully he's better than Browning in at least getting the guys the football. We did see Browning have that good fourth quarter, but again, the first 3 quarters were just so atrocious.
Bad.
And Matthew Berry brought it up, and we've talked about it. The matchups have been tough. Like, you couldn't have expected huge performances from Browning with those matchups. Like, they were tough defenses, and it's not going to get better this week either. We don't know. Do you think Flacco plays this week against Green Bay?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, don't you? He's seen him before, too. That's the other thing.
So he gets an opportunity to beat Green Bay twice this year.
Exactly. That's my thing. He's seen him before. Don't you think that, they got him in as early, I think, as they could with the Tuesday signing, getting him there. Then you have practice today, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I guess
do
and he's a
think
veteran. They'll just have like
Yeah,
a
I do
handful
think
of
he
play. The plays will
plays.
be it'll be like street football. All right, see number 1, yeah, get him the ball. See number 5, yeah, get him the
That's what
ball.
he's doing
Okay,
the rest
cool.
of the way anyways. What are we talking
So
about?
yeah, and
Yeah,
look, Green Bay's defense, we think it's good. The last time we saw them, though, they gave up 40, but that was the Cowboys' offense. So
it was.
it's going to be a difficult task. Packers are coming off a bye. They're coming off a bye, a loss, and a tie. So they
They're
should be ready
hungry.
for this one at
Yeah.
home against the Bengals. But yeah, you just have to hope that Flacco could just get the ball to these key guys. And then let's see the schedule. I thought it eased up a little
It
bit, right?
evens
Yeah,
out.
home
It
to the
evens out a
Steelers,
bit.
which again, I don't know what to make of the Steelers defense right now. It's been pretty bad. It was better the last time we saw them. It is a divisional game. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
those.
a Thursday game. Wow.
Oh, I
So he
kind
has a quick
of.
quick turnaround then. He's not going to have much practice then with these guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Divisional games are weird though.
very yeah.
I mean that we just can't. We have expectations, and then we see a Thursday game like last week.
Oh,
And we say,
but then he gets a
oh,
revenge game against the
oh,
Jets.
oh, perfect.
Well, yeah, look at the
Listen,
schedule
Joe.
after that. Jets, Bears. He gets the Steelers twice. So there's some good and some bad in there.
It's not bad. I mean, he doesn't need to play hero for us. That's the one thing. We care about wins and losses for our teams, but really we care more about for our NFL teams. Really, we care more about just fantasy production. And so I think with Joe Flacco, that's all you're looking for. I think Jamar Chase is still a high-end wide receiver 1. I think Higgins is a solid wide receiver 3. And I think when you look at Chase Brown, a low-end, mid-range, low-end RB2, I should say. I mean, Chase Brown really needs to pick it up for his fantasy managers. And Flacco, again, he hasn't looked amazing. He hasn't looked like the 2023 version comeback player of the year. Completed 58.1% of his passes. He's got 815 yards on the season, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in 4 games, and ranks 31st out of 32 qualifying quarterbacks in total QBR, according to ESPN. And Browning is just 2 spots higher. So they just need some consistency in there to hope that they just stay in that race for the playoffs from here on out, and then let's reevaluate where Joe Burrow is and see if they can get him back. That's all they want, is to be able to stay in it, and it's pretty open too, to be honest. So it's understandable why they did it. But
yeah, I wonder if Baltimore was 4-1, what they would have done. Would they have just said,
yeah,
"Yeah,
if they would
you
have
know
just
what?
said
Forget it."
keep Browning in there. I mean,
Yeah, it's certainly possible.
we'll see. We'll see if Joe Burrow is able to come back. But again, Joe Flacco traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. Do not worry. Help is on the way. That's my favorite thing to say. Help is on the way. You get Joe. Here's Joe Flacco for you to hopefully help your team out. Again, the Chargers brought back Nyheim Hines back to the practice squad. So they've got a dire need at running back. That's not necessarily a move that we're saying go pick up Nyheim Hines, but we'll see how much work we get when we look at Hassan Haskins, Kimani Vidal. Next up on the water cooler, I did want to say Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Did you see these 3? They met to try to fix the offense, Adam. They were listening, obviously, to the show, and they said we needed to work on this because Kendall and Adam aren't getting fantasy points from us. But obviously, very much kidding. But Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley confirmed that they had a players-only meeting along with A.J. Brown on Monday. But they kind of, I don't know, they downplayed it as just teammates being teammates. But there are reports that all 3 of those guys met for 2 hours to discuss offensive frustrations. And this is obviously after that 21-17 loss going up against the Denver Broncos. Brown has only 19 catches for 194 yards and a touchdown this season. Saquon Barkley got only 6 carries in that one?
Yeah.
30 yards. I mean, and Barkley on the season, 83 carries, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns for the season. So all reports are that it was positive, but maybe the players only. I mean, look, the Miami Dolphins had one after week 1. So maybe things can get better here, Adam, for us. I hope so.
Yeah, it's just an odd situation just because the team is
They're winning.
4-1.
Yeah.
So
it's very different than the Dolphins.
But yeah, look, we've talked endlessly about A.J. Brown. That near miss on the long play was his fault. If you watch one angle, you could see he slowed up on the route. So could have been a big gain, but he slowed up. They came out passing last week instead of running the ball. At least I guess it preserves Barkley for the game on Thursday. He is dealing with a knee issue, but all reports indicate he's going to play.
Okay.
It's the Giants. He will not want to miss this game. So you would think that all of these guys should perform well here against the Giants, right? Against this defense, they should be able to to do what they want.
I mean, I've said that for 5 weeks now.
Yeah,
So,
but they went against the Broncos defense last week. It's not like they're a pushover defense.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just lowering my expectations as a whole, to be totally honest. And I really am. That's just me. But I do agree that in this matchup, it should be better. I
They
mean,
faced some
it
good
should be.
defenses outside of Dallas in week 1, but Kansas City, the Rams, the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks you could throw on there. Bucks are really good against the run. And Denver. So, I mean, the Giants are a way better matchup than what we've seen the last few weeks.
Listen, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith have life with the Eagles. Like they really do. The trend that I didn't tell you. You didn't ask me about my stats that I was going to tell you about. You want them?
Yes.
Come on. Hang on. Let me find them. You put me in a tough spot. But
I didn't. You just put yourself in a tough spot.
I know. I thought I had them right in front of me. I thought it was.
Don't
right
blame
here,
me
and
for
it's
this
not.
one.
No, where did it go? Hang on. I need like efforting music or something. Okay, team trends here. So we've got 5 weeks under our belts, and so I saw these team trends from Dwayne, but the drop back over expected. So teams that pass the ball more than the NFL average based on game script is what we're looking at. And so the Eagles ranked 31st in drop back over expected over the first 3 games. All right, so first 3 games they're looking at 31%. Now they sit at 1% for the season after a league-leading 12% mark over the last 2 games. So that's why I say they have life. I mean, there are signs of life here that we're going to be all right with AJ Brown, that everything Devontae Smith is going to be better. You just kind of have to write it out, though. That's my thing, Adam, is what are you going to do at this point? There are some teams where I have AJ Brown and I just don't have better options. And so I think Brown is still in the low end wide receiver 2 territory, right? Smith is, I don't know, mid-range, high-end wide receiver 3. But I do have them moving up this week. I don't think we can. The thing is that we can't expect a pass-heavy attack every single time. That's the one thing. We're always going to get a Saquon Barkley game. It's always going to be dependent on game script, but at least you have that stat from the last 2 weeks, and it looks okay.
And a good matchup.
And a good matchup.
Yes, Smith has better numbers than Brown this year.
Yeah, please don't.
He does.
I know.
And I think
I gotta stop drafting these
even
guys.
going back to the end of the regular season, like the last 7-8 games, Smith and Brown are very close. So we always obviously defer to AJ Brown, but Smith has been the better. He has 25 receptions. Brown has 19. Smith has 272 yards. Brown has 194, and they each have 1 touchdown.
It's great, really. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Brown
in the second round is looking like a bad pick right now.
It'll get better. That's all I can say. That's the only thing I can say. So hopefully it does get better. But the players only meeting, the squeaky wheel games.
So
hopefully
all three are gonna just go off against the Giants. They could
20 plus fantasy points for each of them. Let's say that.
Okay,
yeah, I like that. I like that.
Actually, oh no, I have Barkley in only 1 league. I have Brown in a couple. I don't have any Smith.
I've got Devontae Smith in our GST league. And Jalen Hurts. So I'm really hoping for good things here. That's all I'm hoping for. Next up here on the water cooler, last piece of news, and then we'll get to your phone calls. We'll get to your questions over there on X as well. Brenton Strange placed on IR, so he's going to miss minimum of 4 games. If you were streaming, he was someone I was streaming a little bit. 5 games this season though. You only got 20. You only have 20 receptions, 204 yards. And so they've signed. I think they signed Tim Jones to the practice squad.
Ooh.
They've made it.
Who did they sign?
Stop.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
You can do it with every name. I thought it was just a Mac Jones thing. Is it every name?
It's Jones. Eddie Jones.
Okay. All right. No, then I'm not doing it. You didn't get me. But I think that was the only other. Brock Bowers considered week to week. We kind of knew that one, but that was the only. Stop. It's not every name now. You can't just do it. I think that was it though. That's all that I've seen. But Evan Ingram placed on IR. So there you go.
Evan Ingram.
Or not Evan Ingram. Dang it. Brenton Strange. Gosh.
Oh,
now you're confusing me with the name thing. Stop.
Don't blame me. Focus.
I'm focused. Oh, the Mariners playing a little bit, so I'm a little bit focused. All right. We're taking you. You want to do some questions here? Get out of here. It's the Jones thing. Whatever. Anyways, you ready to take some questions?
Yeah, I'm ready. Are you?
Kind of. It's
Okay,
all over the
we'll
place.
see.
This last hour is just kind of everyone buckle in. We're just going to be going here. All right. Questions over here on X at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. Appreciate everyone sending these in. We'll try and get to as many as we can. Saw this one from Richard earlier in the show. Said, "Am I crazy for wanting Quinshon Judkins over Jeanty the rest of the way? The schedule looks amazing. You do rest of season rankings, so and I looked for my rankings originally going into this week. They are very close this week as well. The two of them.
It's not crazy. I would still go Jeanty because I think he's more involved in the passing game. That's the one thing from Judkins is that he's not catching a lot of passes, right? He has 9
Yeah.
receptions in 4 games. We've seen, and we talked about Jeanty's increased usage in the passing game and how his snaps have increased. But it is much closer than any of us thought before the year because, boy, Judkins looks phenomenal.
He looks so good.
He looks like one of the best backs in the NFL right now. And he should have had a bigger day. I mean, it happens to every player, but he had like about a 60-yard run called back to a penalty. Would have been a touchdown. Still at 23 for 110. And the volume is there. So I'd still rather have Jeanty. Both offenses, obviously, we thought the Raiders' offense would be better. It's struggling right now because usually you would say, well, Jeanty has more opportunities for touchdowns. I don't know if we could say that right now with the way the Raiders' offense is playing, but it's close. I still lean Jeanty, but it's extremely close.
I like Jeanty for now, but even in the rankings this week, I'm telling you, I have him. I think right now we have him consensus RB11 and RB12 with a lean towards Jeanty, but that's just how good we've seen Quinshon Judkins so far this season. So it's a good question, and I understand it, but I'm going to go Jeanty there as well. Got another one here. Looks like it's from Joe, just asking about Kyle Pitts going into this week. So we've got the Falcons coming off their bye, or the one Mason Taylor that we've been talking about here for the last couple of weeks. I will say I actually might lean towards Pitts this week because Mason Taylor's getting the Denver Broncos defense. But again, that one's a little bit closer. I think I'm gonna have Kyle Pitts ranked just a little bit higher though going into it.
Yeah, that is a close because remember, Surtain's probably going to be on Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
So that could open
But
things up.
Buffalo, I'm gonna have Pitts probably at 11 though in
So
that Buffalo game.
the Bills have allowed the second fewest points to tight ends, but let's see who they have faced. Mark Andrews, week 1.
Okay.
The Jets, where Taylor wasn't healthy yet. Miami, who doesn't use the tight end. Before
Well,
Darren Waller.
they didn't have
Yeah.
Waller at that game either.
Jawan Johnson, 3 catches, 28 yards. I think that was the game, though, that, he was banged up in that
He
game.
got
He hurt
hurt.
his ankle during the game. And then Hunter Henry, they held to 2 for 46 last week. And then, and then we said Denver.
Denver.
Yeah, that's a really close one. I probably lean Pitts, but Taylor's just looks so good and is getting so many targets.
I'm still leaning. I might still lean Pitts in this one. It's early in the week though, so that could change.
I think
but in
because
my
you're worried
initial
about the
ranking,
Jets offense this week.
I just with Denver, it's just that's going to be a tall task for them. So I'm going Pitts in that one. Appreciate you sending that in here, Joe. Let's go out to the phone lines here really quick and get a couple of calls in. So let's go out to Mike in North Carolina. Mike, what do you got for us?
Hello.
Hey, Mike,
Thanks for
what do you got
taking
for
the call.
us? Yeah, of course.
So I have Daniel Jones and Bo Nix, and I sort of see them as same as far as their production. And Stafford is out on the web, and on the waiver wire, and I don't know, is it worth picking him up? And if so, which one would I drop or just stay pat?
I mean, I would stay pat unless you're looking for a streamer this week because I'm gonna have Stafford ahead of both Daniel Jones and Bo Nix. Bo Nix and Daniel Jones though this week got them very close together. I have them originally right now at 13 and 14, QB 13, QB 14. But I would stay with both of them. Would you pick up Stafford?
I think it's close. I mean, Stafford's had 2 really good games recently with the 6 passing touchdowns and 375 and 389. If Jones hasn't been
if you did though, you would drop Jones then, not Bo Nix.
Jones hasn't been running the last 3 games. I don't know what is going on, but remember we saw him run the first 2 games. You know what? I probably would do it for Jones at this point.
do you like the rest of the schedule though for Matthew Stafford? I still look at him as more of a streamer than anything else. Like you're not going to be able to put him in and week out. They got that's why I said this week is really good though. They have the Ravens. We're picking on the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
Rams are on the road.
He's the
Then they
better
take on
start of the 3 quarterbacks this
Oh,
week.
for sure. I have him ahead of both the other two. Then he takes on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wait, do they have the Ravens? Yeah. Wow, it's already going to be
Don't the Rams?
It's already going to be October 12th on Sunday? Oh
yeah.
my God. I literally thought I was a week ahead.
Yeah,
wow.
so they have Jacksonville, then they're on a bye, then they get the Saints, the 49ers, the Seahawks. And the Seahawks, tough to run on. You're going to pass on them. And the same thing the following week against the Bucks. So, yeah, it's actually a pretty good. It's not bad. Yeah, I think I would make the move for Jones. Jones is playing well, but fantasy-wise, okay, don't look. How many passing touchdowns does Daniel Jones have?
7.
6 in 5 games. He has 4 games of 1 touchdown pass, and the running. He had 26 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns in week 1. He only had 2 rushing yards in week 2, but had a rushing touchdown. 27 rushing yards. The last 2 games, 2 carries for 1 yard. He's not running. I mean, I guess they blew out Vegas, but even a game against the Rams, that was a game they lost, and it was competitive. He only had 1 carry. So all of a sudden, each week he's running less. And if he's not going to run like that, that really hurts his fantasy value. So, I mean, part of it is they've had 3 dominant wins.
I was going to say they didn't even play any. I mean,
but still, if there was no production there in those wins, it's a lot of Jonathan Taylor.
All right.
I think Stafford is. I prefer him.
Rest of season, you have him higher than Jones?
Well, I got to check now and make that change if I don't, because I just talked myself into it.
There you go. I'm still believing in Daniel Jones because I'd still look at Stafford as a streamer. But if Mike is looking at someone,
well, why is Stafford a streamer?
Because I'm someone that is just picking him up based on this week.
I mean, it's.
So you're going to have him top 15.
He has Puka and Devontae Adams, and he's thrown in the red zone a lot.
You're going to have him top 13, 15 rest of the way?
Look, I'm not even high on Knicks.
I know, you actually don't like Knicks.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Could he get better? Yes. We saw him do it last year, but we tend to see these second-year quarterbacks, teams adjust, and they're adjusting.
I don't know. I still like the Colts. I still think that they have room to continue. I mean, with everything that they've been doing, 4-1 start. I do, but I get it. And again, this week Stafford is going to be higher than both those guys. So that's what I'm saying. If you want this week, I had a friend text me this morning saying I have, who did she have? Jackson Dart. And she said, should I just Stafford. Drop Jackson Dart? It's Stafford. So
Knicks is running more than Daniel Jones so far too.
That's
28
crazy.
carries for 100 yards.
Maybe we need to call Daniel Jones and say, hey, get
He's
back
like,
I'm
4-1. Leave me alone. I'm not changing a thing.
He's like, what are you talking about? We're 4-1. I do like that question, Mike. Now I'm going to have to go back and look at my rankings as well to look at what I have for Stafford and Daniel Jones. But Stafford this week is definitely higher in my rankings for week 6. All right, we're going to keep going here. That was a really good question. We're going to keep going here, talking through some of the highs and lows that we're going to see going into week 6. I've got Stock Watch here. Who's a riser and who's a faller going into this week? We have to talk about Woody Marks. Is he still startable? Breece Hall had a little bit of a good day. Deebo Samuel. We're going to break them down here coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to have Xfinity. All the games, all in one place. Here's what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. You get Sports Zone, every pro football game and over 1,000 college games, highlights and alerts, all in one place. You get multi-view. You can be up to 4 stadiums at once. You also get the Xfinity fan view. So that means live scores, odds, and stats all in one place. And you can personalize that to your favorite teams. You also get enhanced 4K and the voice remote, just say football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Happy Wednesday, everyone. You are so close to Thursday Night Football. Not the weekend yet, sorry. But you're close to Thursday Night Football, so I think that counts, Adam. We've got good questions coming in on X over there, at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis. Someone from Chris said, you guys helped me out a lot last year. Let's do it again. Brian Thomas Jr. or Chris Olave this week. I put Brian Thomas Jr. just 2 spots ahead of him. BTJ going up against the Seahawks. Jaguars are at home, though. And then Saints, being the Saints.
Jacksonville coming off that real emotional win. I mean, this is a prime letdown spot for them.
So you don't have Brian Thomas Jr. over Chris
No,
Olave?
I would play him. I'm just saying in general.
Well,
Yeah,
we need a
Olave is
Seahawks
probably
win.
going to get a lot of Christian Gonzalez this week.
Yeah. Again, our rankings are updated at fantasylife.com. Obviously, these are going to change, but my initial first run through has Brian Thomas Jr. just a couple spots.
It is
just a couple
close
spots
though,
higher.
which is
Oh, for
kind of
sure.
really disappointing based on where Brian Thomas Jr. was drafted, that we are now in this range of wide receivers for
It's
him.
gross. It's gross. It's so annoying, but that's fine. We just have to deal with it. I also saw this message from Joe. Shout out to Joe. He said he had the steal of the week in his guillotine league, and I said, okay, what does that mean here? He got a Dunze for $22.
What?
$22
That's
out of
insane.
1,000 budget. He said he tried for Bijan, Drake London, and JSN. Didn't want to spend that much, and so it just kind of was able to get it in, kind of probably under the radar. But he said, how did they let me get away with this? I said, I don't know, Joe, because that's crazy to get Roma Dunze for only $22.
Yeah, I did the guillotine newsletter, and Odunze was on the top 10 for most chopped, and I said he is one of the few players I would be aggressive on. Usually I'm like, yeah, don't spend much here, don't spend much here. Obviously, Bijan Robinson said be aggressive. James Cook, you could be aggressive, even though he has a bye in week 7. But Odunze, I was like, yeah, his target share is like around 27%. He's clearly the go-to guy for Caleb Williams. And the other appealing factor is he just had his bye, so you don't have to worry about a bye week going forward. So 22 is an absolute bargain. I don't know how you got him at that price, but it also goes to show you always put in a bid on everyone, even if you don't think you're going to get him. You just never know. I don't know if he slipped through because he didn't play last week. I have no idea. I don't get that.
No, I think and sometimes people, put multiple bids on different people, but drop the same player. So sometimes that messes you up too.
Or sometimes
but
sometimes like in this case, they might have said, oh, I'm just going to bid on Bijan, Cook, and maybe another big name player, and that's it. No, I know it takes time, but you should see some of these lists that I have. Sometimes I'll list like 15 to 20 players on just one drop because I want to get someone, and maybe the last 5 or 6 or $1, but you just have to put in a lot. And I think the problem is sometimes people only put in 2 or 3. Like, oh, I'm just going to get Bijan or Cook. That's it. Well, what if you don't get them? Then now you're getting nothing. So just take the time and put in a lot of names on the ad drops.
one more here, and then we'll get into the risers fallers. I see this one from Kenny, and I think this is a good question just for anyone that got Vidal and Haskins, because we're going to get a lot of those start sits this week. I can already tell, because I'm in the same position, Adam, right? We're going to be like, okay, who do we have to start here? But Kenny brought up saying, I was able to get Vidal. Should I start him over Travion Henderson, or does the Gibson injury mean I should try one more week? And I do lean, Adam, trying one more week with Travion Henderson. They're a little bit closer than I expected in my initial run of rankings, but I've got Henderson at running back 30, and I'm going to have Vidal at 35. Because again, we just don't know what it's going to look like. So if it is this week and Vidal just looks really good, he's getting a lot of the passing work and he's just looking more explosive, then I'll change it. But to start things off, I don't know if I can put him any higher than 35.
Yeah, the only positive thing is the matchup against Miami. That's the one thing that will make you think a little bit, but we don't know how it's going to go. We can hope that we get some reports during the week. I mean, I don't even know if we were helped by Arizona last week because they said it would be the hot hand that they'd play all 3. Now, if you listen to Michael Carter, he had said that he was the starter, but I don't know if that was good enough. I leaned more in the direction of Carter, but I wasn't 100% sure, even 80% sure. He was the guy that I spent the money on and started him. It worked out. I did start DeMarcado too, again, out of desperation, and it should have been better if he didn't drop that ball.
It will be better. It will be better.
But as far as I probably would lean Henderson too. Look, I am very discouraged by Travion Henderson right now. Not only the way have they used him, but when he's gotten the opportunity, he's done nothing.
Done anything.
That's the
done
problem.
Anything with it.
But you would hope that with Gibson out now, that maybe we see a little bit more touches for him, and maybe he needs that rhythm where, because it's really difficult, I think, for a running back to be out there go to the sideline. Like, I hate they're doing it with Pacheco, and I hate it. Pacheco will have a
I
big
know.
run. All right,
I
let's bring in
know.
Kareem Hunt. Like, can you at least let the guy get into a little bit of a rhythm and see if he can produce? And maybe he can't. And maybe they're right. He's just not the same player. But give him the chance because, you get a good run. All right, take him out of the game. It's not
It
like
makes no
it's
sense.
not
I
like
know.
Pacheco had a 50-yard run where he's tired. Like, he's having like a 12-yard run. All right, let's put in Kareem Hunt now. It's like, what? So, yeah, with Henderson, I probably look. Here's the thing with Henderson: there are situations where you probably don't have a better option, and you're putting him out there. I know I think I have him in 2 leagues. That's where I'm at with him, where I just don't have a better option at running back, so I'm putting him out there. In this case, I probably would go another week with him.
I would too, and especially with
Unless we get
Vidal.
clear-cut news, which we probably won't. I doubt they're going to come out and say, yeah, Vidal's the starter, Haskins is the starter. They probably won't do that.
If Vidal comes out and pulls the Michael Carter and says, I'm the starter, do you think we believe him? Do we move him up the ranks?
We might have to.
I think we might have to. TreVeyon Henderson, though. I mean, I'm holding out hope now at this point, Adam, because of the shares that I have with him, that it's more of the rookie slump in the beginning of the year that he gets, halfway through the season, back half of the season, and we see a little bit of a breakthrough. But you said it. I mean, he's not doing anything with even the limited opportunities that he has. He ranks 34th out of 43 running backs with at least 30 attempts in yards after contact. He's 27th in explosive rush rate and 36th in missed tackles forced. It's not there right now. So we never want injuries, but we know it does go next guy up mentality for Antonio Gibson being out the rest of the year with that ACL. But it's really going to be Ramondre Stevenson's backfield, and then TreVeyon Henderson. Where is Ramondre in just overall ranks? Where is he in fantasy point totals?
He
I haven't
can't be
even
that
really.
high.
I think I have him in one place.
I don't either. He was going.
Points per game. Is he up there or no?
I don't think so. I'll
I
look
don't
real
think
quick,
so.
but I will
Okay.
say he was really too cheap in some spots. There were a couple times I was like, "Oh, I'm about to take him now," and someone else would get him.
The
Uh,
worst.
yeah, I mean, but it's all our faults. We let him fall. He is 30th in PPR
Oh,
formats
okay.
and points per game. He's had 2 good games and like 3 bad ones. And the 2 games that were really good. So he had that 5 reception,
Mhm.
88-yard game where he had, I think there was like a 50-plus reception on the sideline, where I did see Vrabel said that they had that play set up for Henderson in practice. They ran it
Great.
with him, and they wound up doing it with Stevenson in the game.
Love to hear that. Thanks,
And then
Vrabel.
Stevenson this past week, the only reason why he had a good game was 2 touchdowns. So
Yes.
it's not like he's done much. So I think there is a path. Henderson's just got to stop with the penalties and I guess be a little bit better in pass protection. That's what they said. I know in college he was good.
Just be better, maybe.
But I mean, if you look
overall.
at the rushing yards for Stevenson, he's had 38 rushing yards or fewer in 4 or 5 games. So he's not doing anything to run away with this, and the fumbles don't help. So there definitely is the path there for Henderson, but he's got to start showing something.
I think that's what makes it more disappointing, though, is that
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson has not been running away with it. So you kind of leave the door open for someone like TreVeyon Henderson, and it's just not there. I'm holding out hope, though. So in any of these questions, again, our rankings are live at fantasylife.com. I'll go in and upload and update mine probably after the Mariners game, but maybe before that. It's
If they lose, you'll still do it?
Why would you say
I'm
that?
just
What are
I'm
you
just
doing?
trying to get
What are
some
you trying to
answers
do
here.
to me? What? No. I mean, I will, but it'll be
Yeah.
like rage rankings. It'll just be all wrong and like all messed up. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll make sure to do those. But rest of season rankings are there as well, which people can go and check out. And then the early week 6 rankings from Matthew Friedman and Ian Hartitz are there. So yeah, let's see. I mean, let me just say this. Last one on Henderson. Gibson averaged six and a half touches in his past 4 games. And I think there's a decent chance that some of that work that we've seen from him goes to Henderson moving forward. And if you can't do anything with more opportunities and not that much goodness coming out of Ramondre Stevenson, then we'll just have to shake our heads and say it was a bad pick. It's still early, though. We're going into week 6.
Yeah, look, we've seen this. You can go look at splits from the last several years. Go look at weeks 1 to 5 and some of the players that were terrible and where they finished in the year. Especially with these rookies, it really does take some time. The ones that come out like Quinshon Judkins with no training camp and barely any practice, that's just an outlier. And I give him a lot of credit because, Boy, that is just
And he
there were
looks
people
good.
getting him in the double-digit rounds when we had no idea what was going
Hey,
on with his situation.
I had that one draft in the stacked
Oh,
league,
you
and
were
it
on the
was the
clock, right?
second to last pick, and it was me on the clock with 5 minutes left, and they said that Quinshon Judkins would be playing, and I said, okay, you know what? Let me just take him here.
Oh, what a steal.
It was pure luck.
Sometimes you need some luck.
It was literally pure luck. There was no analysis in it. It was it was pure dumb luck with the clock running down. So yeah, some of these guys are going to be good to start, and hopefully we get the rookie bump this week or midway through the season. We see it there. All right, I want to do more stock watch names, guys that are rising going into week 6, guys that are falling a little bit. We're going to go through those names here coming up next. Oh, as always, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us here today. Happy Wednesday. FantasyLife.com. That's where you can go check out all of the rankings, all of the updated projections going into week 6. And like Matthew Berry said earlier in the show, like I've been telling you, you can also get free Fantasy Life Plus, a free Fantasy Life Plus subscription for the next year when you go and check out Comet. So an AI-powered browser acts as a personal assistant and a thinking partner. I asked Comet some questions for fantasy football leagues for these shows, getting me some good stats here. So for a limited time, again, you can get Fantasy Life Plus for free when you download Comet at fantasylife.com/Comet. That's /COMET. So it's a 2-minute step-by-step guide. You just follow that, and then you get access to all the rankings, the tools, the projections on Fantasy Life for free for 1 year. So make sure you go to fantasylife.com/Comet and check that out, because it's a really, really good deal that we're really excited to be giving you here. All right, Stock Watch, risers, fallers here, Adam. Woody Marks. We talked about him a couple days ago as one of the more disappointing guys that you probably started going in week 5. So going into week 6, while he is a downgrade for me, maybe mid-range RB3, I still think he's got the value, right? I mean, he's still going to have the pass catching work. It's not ideal with what we saw him do last week, and I think his role does grow as the season continues on. But what we saw wasn't ideal. There's no other way around it. So I did downgrade him a little bit, but again, I still have to put him out there in some of my leagues, which I'm not necessarily happy about. But I still think he's going to have a good rest of season way.
Yeah, you're not playing him this week, though. He's on a bye. So
Oh
just make sure you know that.
Why are all my guys?
I know you're distracted.
Why are all my guys doing this? No, you're right.
But yeah,
Texans, Vikings, right?
Yes.
Texans, Vikings. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
going forward, though, I do think with Marks, I'm still optimistic. Obviously, this was not what we wanted to see this past week, because that was the time that everyone put him in their lineups. Like, yes, here we go.
Yep.
He did play more snaps than Chubb, but Chubb had more of the rushing attempts, and it was a good matchup. I just don't see Chubb looking that way the rest of the season. So, yeah, I'm still optimistic with Marks, but I don't think we can immediately get him in our lineups when he returns in week 7. It depends what else we have, but yeah, that was a little bit of a little deflating to see that,
No
because I
kidding.
did start Marks in 2 leagues, and I was like, oh man, are you serious?
Yeah, it was brutal. So, like you said, you're not starting him this week because he is on a bye, as we can all remember, the Texans and the Vikings this week. But yeah, the utilization score just wasn't good. You've got actually a utilization score of 57 over the last 3 games. Yes, over the last 3 games here, since that rotation with Chubb. But yeah, he's a downgrade for sure. Mid-range RB3 for me going into it. What about, all right, let's go to Jerry Jeudy here. We haven't talked about Jerry Jeudy. We did going into last week, but the expectations for Jerry Jeudy, I looked this up. He's still rostered in over 82% of Yahoo leagues. Not to say that he shouldn't be, but I just think it's some of the interesting stats. He's just not, I mean, he's second at the wide receiver position in drops with 4. He's right behind Brian Thomas Jr., which makes me cringe at him saying that, at 5. And he's also seen the second most interceptions on intended targets. That's 3, according to The Athletic, which I think is a really cool stat to know. But just Jerry Jeudy in general, riser, faller, stay in neutral for him with Dylan Gabriel in there.
Major faller. It's just
Yeah,
not happening. So we saw Gabriel go to the tight ends more, specifically David Njoku. So he's not a guy either that is going to attempt a lot of deep passes, a lot of short. But yeah, with Jeudy, it's been miserable if you drafted
It's
him. I
been
think I
bad.
have him in only one league. That's still one league too many. And yeah, he's got no touchdowns. He's got 17-yard game recently, a 15-yard game against Minnesota. It's not happening.
Yeah, it's bad. I wanted to say Riser just to be nice to him, but we kind of know at this point. Cedric Tillman is what, he's 2 games now from returning potentially?
Yeah, he's on IR, so minimum 4 games, and it could be a little longer than that potentially.
Are you, because of, so now we're just to finish that conversation with Joe Flacco leaving, is Shador Sanders in those deeper super flex formats now someone that you're saying if you want to get ahead of it, go ahead and stash him? Or is this because now those two do move up? Obviously, they have a lot of faith in Dylan Gabriel, and Dylan Gabriel did not look bad in that first start. So, if you're trying to be proactive though and get ahead of things, is Shador Sanders someone that you're looking at maybe as a third quarterback on your depth chart, on your bench, I should say?
I think you have to, because you know that you're going to have to spend a lot of money if Gabriel were to go down in a game like this week and then he comes in. So I know in a super flex league where I'm extremely desperate, yeah, I'm going to do it this week because
Is that your Bryce Young team?
yeah, because right now this week I only have one quarterback because my other quarterback is Carson Wentz. He's on bye, and there's a chance that he's not even the starter in week 7. It could be JJ McCarthy. So I'm absolutely desperate. So I will be doing it.
Was Dylan Gabriel already rostered?
He was picked up last week for, I don't know,
Yeah.
$65. I mean, I guess in a way I went after Browning when Burrow got hurt, and I came up a little short. And so I guess in hindsight, it's probably a good day. I think he went for like $88 out of 100.
All right.
So I understand why people did it, right? He was the starting
Of
quarterback.
course.
But that's the whole point, that if you wait and you leave Sanders out there and somehow he becomes the starter due to injury or whatever it is, you're going to spend a lot of money. So you might as well just go pick him up now for a couple bucks and put him on your bench. Again, that's only super flex leagues.
Yeah, don't do
or
this.
2 quarterback leagues.
Yeah, don't do this anywhere else. Please, just don't. And if it doesn't work out, you cut him, right? It's one of those things where he can be a cut candidate for you, but just always be ahead. That's why we try and say just be ahead, especially a week early on some of your bye week players. And then when we get these quarterback moves, it's not only just affecting Joe Flacco, Jake Browning, it's also affecting the Browns here for Shador Sanders and looking at Dylan Gabriel. We're going to continue on here. I just want to go through 2 buy low, sell high candidates. I want to see if we're buying this one wide receiver that could potentially start a breakout this week, and then buying a elite running back here that's not been very elite, but maybe we want to get him before he is. We're going to break it down next. Fantasy Life right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Hopefully everyone's having a great start to their day, getting you ready for all things week 6. We got a Thursday night game tomorrow. I just wanted to go through a couple more, buy sell candidates. I wanted to know, and this kind of coincides with a question that we got about Tedero McMillan, but I was saying that Tedero McMillan is a good buy candidate right now. Adam, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Even if you didn't, I was still going to stay with it, but I think Ted is a good buy low candidate right now. I think some people might be frustrated with what he's doing, but I think he has high-end wide receiver 2 upside if things do come together. And that's not just him, it's Bryce Young. Bryce Young hasn't been good. And it's just, he's duped us. I should have probably taken into consideration how he might not have looked great, but let me tell you, catchable targets per game is sitting at 5.8, which is 15th for Tedero McMillan. And then catchable air yards per game, 59.6, 16th. Yeah.
No, the volume is there. At least
8
targets in every single game, at least 62 receiving yards in 4 to 5 games. We just need him to find the end zone. He has not scored a touchdown yet. I think it will happen one of these games, but yeah, Bryce Young has just not been good. Like, he had that strong finish to the end of last year. It has not carried over into this season. It's been pretty bad for him so far. And even with that, McMillan has still put up, again, decent fantasy numbers. We obviously want better. We want some touchdowns because he really started to rise up draft boards. I think in some of the high stakes leagues, he started to go in the 3rd round. Maybe you were able to get him in the 4th round. I know I have him in a few leagues. But yeah, in PPR, he is 32nd among wide receivers in points per game. So that's not good, but I do think it could get better. Again, he gets a touchdown like this week or a 2 touchdown game, and he easily just moves back up. So, but you love that he's the number one target in this offense, as bad as it's been, and the volume is there. So it really comes down to him finding the end zone. He does have double-digit points in PPR formats in 4 or 5 games, and his worst game is 7.8. So he's got a high floor. The ceiling right now is low. Let's hope that Bryce Young can improve. But yeah, I would be buying on him if he was available.
I think he can break through that. I think he can break through that ceiling.
And better than Brian Thomas.
Hey, stop. That feels like it's pointed towards me.
No, it's not. I thought I had him in more leagues because I did like him.
I'm glad you don't.
No, I think it's mostly best ball that I have him. I believe I have him in 1 or 2, definitely 1 redraft, maybe 2. I thought it was way more. When he started to struggle, I was like,
I've got him.
Oh, let me go through my teams.
You didn't get him because I was picking him up. That's why in all our drafts that we did together. Hey,
look, I can't believe it's been this bad.
I would say it could only get better, but really, I'm not going to put that out there. Hey, really quick, panic meter on Jameson Williams right now. Is that a 10?
High.
It's
bad.
It's
high.
I was looking at this because I didn't think it was this bad, but 11 catches for 223 yards and a touchdown this season. He's averaging 6.8 fantasy points, and his catches, those receptions tied for 120th. That's bad.
It really is, and you thought this past week against Cincinnati would be one of those games, and it didn't happen, and they talked him up, getting him the ball downfield. We have not seen it.
But you can't sell him. No one's going to buy that.
No one's buying. You're kind of stuck with him. You're probably benching him. You
just have to go to our rankings, fantasylife.com. It's bad. It's bad. We'll go through more of those guys here tomorrow. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. Go Mariners, Adam. We'll see
Mariners
you guys.
and Blue Jays.
Oh, yeah. There you go. See you same time here tomorrow, guys.